Choosing to blow the whistle on practices you believe to be wrong can be intimidating. Usually you are contemplating tattling on people you work with that you probably know and like. As daunting as this will be, Trevino and Nelson have outlined a 7-step process that can help you organize your thoughts and actions. To illustrate this process, I will be following the experience of Dimthi Lee, a senior auditor with the Defense Contract Audit Agency, and the action she took to blow the whistle on bad audit practices within the DCAA. Really, the process should begin with assessment. Trevino and Nelson suggest asking how strongly you feel about the situation. Is it something that really matters? Next, you should determine the intent behind the action. Revenge or self-serving actions are not worthy of this type of action. Also, it is a good idea to take time to build relationships with those who can affect change and look for other ways to fix the problem. Lee demonstrated this assessment by seeking experience and information from other senior auditors within the DCAA. She then tried the first steps in Trevino's process by speaking with her branch manager about the situation. What she learned was that both the branch manager and the regional manager were party to changing the audit findings in order to meet productivity goals. As reported by Tony Saavedra in the Orange County Register, Lee struggled with her conscience for weeks, trying through sleepless nights to gather the courage to report the bad audits. This suggests that she took the next step by discussing the situation with her husband and documenting the events and actions. Because of the involvement of the regional manager, she was unable to take the problem up the chain of command. Her next option was to go to the Defense Department's Office of Inspector General's Whistleblower Hotline. With no response, she then took her complaint outside the company to the U.S. Government Accountability Office, and then on to the Defense Department's Criminal Investigation Services. It was at that point that she learned that her report to the Whistleblower Hotline was no longer anonymous. They had referred her complaint back to the DCAA to investigate, and with that action, she started seeing evidence of retaliation. Co-workers would not associate with her. She experienced jaded employer reviews and was passed over for advancements and bonuses. She found her employer was trying to undermine her credibility by making her out to be unstable and violent, as reported by Saavedra. Finally, after 2 years, the Government Accountability Office issued a report that supported Lee's claims, and she was asked to report to the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. In her testimony, she explained what she observed, the steps that she took, how she was treated, and closed by urging the committee to implement change that would move audits from being metric-driven to auditors truly being allowed to perform quality audits. Lee was lucky that ultimately she was able to keep her position rather than leaving the company as suggested by Trevino and Nelson's final step in the process. But I'm sure that option was pretty tempting, as bad as the situation was getting for her. In the end, she was commended by the Senate for being willing to risk her career for what was right, and was promoted to be an audit trainer. She received whistleblower protection, granting her retroactive performance awards and corrections to her employee evaluations. It is important for each of us to evaluate our values and what our limits are before being presented with situations that will test these values. Not all situations will end this way or this quickly. Hopefully you'll be able to come to a solution before having to go through the entire process. But as Trevino and Nelson suggest, when knowledge becomes unbearable, blowing the whistle and ultimately quitting your job may be the only solution.